Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Talk Sports Show with host Alec Pecado on Wednesday, September the 6th. I apologize for not posting this yesterday as I was a little bit under the weather and I didn't want to give y'all an episode of the Talk Sports Show with me not being at 100% and not having my full energetic voice like I do now. So today's show is going to be a long one. Let's get right into it. Here's some NFL news. Who's the NFL news rundown? If y'all haven't heard, Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce has a hyperextended knee. They say that his ACL in his knee is intact. But they don't know if he's going to play this week. In their game, take into account the Chiefs play the Lions tomorrow night in the first NFL game of the season. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor is on the PUP list for at least the first 4 weeks of the season. So if you have him in fantasy football, I wouldn't drop him because I think at some point he will be traded. I don't know to who, but I'm thinking he gets traded out of Indianapolis to a team that needs a running back. Some sad news now. Former NFL receiver that played for the Buccaneers, the Bills, and a few other teams, Mike Williams, passed away yesterday from a construction accident. And little personal story. I knew Mike Williams' cousin DJ as when I lived in South Tampa. Mike Williams' cousin lived in the house lived in a townhouse behind my house. So I was really close with with DJ and Mike Williams' mother, Mary. My heart breaks for DJ and Mary right now as my thoughts and prayers go out to the whole entire Williams family, including DJ and Mary. On to more positive news now. Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin has a turf toe, and he might play in week 1. The Commanders don't know yet. He was in a walking boot last week on Thursday. He's been practicing, but they don't know if he's going to play. For fantasy football purposes, I would keep an eye on the inactive list on Sunday, which usually comes out 90 minutes before game time. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is likely to play Sunday. He's been nursing a calf injury. This would be a big get back for the Bengals, as Burrow did not play at all in the preseason, and which I don't blame the Bengals for not letting him play because they didn't want him to get hurt. It hurt that calf injury worse than it was. Jets running back. The next bit of NFL news, Jets running back Breece Hall is expected to play on Sunday. On Monday night, as the Bills and the Jets play on Monday night. They're the Monday Night Football game for week 1. And next news. If you haven't heard, Texans rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud has been voted a team captain. And the last bit of NFL news that I'm going to go over is 49ers defensive end Nick Bosa has not reported to the team yet, as he is in a contract dispute trying to get paid. He's trying to get a new contract. On to the next thing. College football. Here's my week 2 college football point spread picks and my 2 upsets for college football this week. My first upset this week is going to be Texas beating Alabama. And I have Texas beating Alabama 45-42. I liked what I saw from Texas in their first game of the season. Even though it was against Rice. If it was against anybody else, I would have been more impressed. But it was against Rice. And Quentin Ewers looks like the real deal. I know there's people that are going to say, oh, you need to bench Texas needs to bench Quentin Ewers. Bench him, put Arch Manning or Malik Murphy in. No. Quentin Ewers, I just looked at Heisman. He's third in the Heisman odds after week 1, behind only Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. But the reason I think Texas won is because they could have won last year if Quentin Ewers did not get hurt during this game. That's why I have them beating Alabama this year. And the other reason number 2, I have Texas beating Alabama is because Texas has a more experienced QB than Alabama does. Jalen Milroe, this is his first full year starting. As for Ewers, he started almost every game last year except for, I think it was 2. And that's when he was hurt. And they had Hudson Card start a couple games. Well, now Hudson Card's gone. He's at Purdue. But here's what I'm going to say. I think Quentin Ewers goes off. He throws for 4 touchdowns and for over 200 yards passing. And Texas upsets Alabama 45-42. Now to my 4 over-under picks. 2 overs, 2 unders. If you're betting on games and you're picking the over-under, you're doing the over-under of games. The first one I'm going to talk about. Oh, correction. This is my second upset. Upset number 2. Arizona State over Oklahoma State. The reason everybody's going to say this is not really an upset because neither team is ranked. But I think in my book, this would be a big win for Arizona State, as it would solidify that they're going to be a good team this year in the Pac-12. I have them upsetting Oklahoma State 45-35 with Jaden Rashada, the true freshman QB, throwing for 4 touchdowns and over 250 yards passing. Now, to my over-under picks from week 2 Again, let me refresh you, jog your memory. How I do this is I do 2 overs, 2 unders. If you're betting on games and you're doing the over under, the first game I'm going to do is Miami of Florida and Texas A&M. This is a big game. If you're betting on it, I would take the over. I watched Miami of Florida's first game this year. It was against Miami of Ohio. And that offense looks lethal. It looks like they could put up points. They have 3 good running backs. They have 2 or 3 good wide receivers as well. Miami of Florida does. If you're betting on this game, smash the over of 51.5. I don't know how much defense is going to be in this. There's going to be in this game. This might be a good old-fashioned shootout, with the final score being 45-35. And if the over doesn't hit, you can come back at me in the comments and say, Alec, you were wrong on the A&M Miami, Florida over under. And I will take the L and move on to the next week. The next over under I'm going to give you is going to be the over under for the Ole Miss Tulane football game. Call me crazy, but I'm taking the over in the Tulane Ole Miss game. For one reason only. Both quarterbacks are very experienced. Jackson Dart was at Ole Miss last year. I know he struggled, but he looked good in their first game this year. I'm taking the over of 63.5, and I think the final score is going to be 55-48. And I'm going to give you a bold prediction. I think both quarterbacks, Michael Pratt and Jackson Dart, throw for 4 touchdowns apiece. And over, combined over of 340 passing yards each. So that's 680 total yards of passing offense for both teams. The next game. Hold up. Okay. So now to my unders. The first under I am taking is the Miami of Ohio UMass game. And I know a couple Miami fans, they're not going to like seeing me take the under in this game. The over under is set at 46.5. If I'm betting on this game, I'm taking the under. I'm drilling the under 46.5, and I think the final score is going to be 35-28. Yeah, 35-28. I have Miami of Ohio winning this game. However, yes, you heard me. I do have Miami winning this game and getting their first win of the season after getting trounced by Miami, Florida, 38-3 in their opening game of the season. I do have Miami winning easily. Like I said, no, not easily. Like I just said, 35-28 is going to be the final. And I would take, if you're betting on this game, I would take the under. The next game, I'm going to give you a prediction for it. Over under is Nebraska, Colorado. Colorado is ranked in the top 25. If I'm betting on this game, I am taking the under. The over-under set at 57.5 points. And yes, you see the score prediction right there, 35-28. I predict that might be the final score. And I think Colorado's going to win. But I'm just not impressed at all with Nebraska. At all. They don't impress me at all. They should have beaten Minnesota last Thursday, but they didn't. I watched that game back. They played sloppy. Very, very sloppy. They did not deserve to win. You play as sloppy as Nebraska did against Minnesota, you should still win, but you didn't. And that's why Colorado is my pick to win this game. And if you're betting on this game, if you're doing the over-under, like I said a minute ago, take the under, and you probably will thank me later. The next thing I'm going to predict is Kyle McCord's stat line for their game this week against Youngstown State, as I will be at that game in attendance. I think Kyle McCord has a bounce-back game after not playing so well in his first start this year. I think McCord throws for not one, not two, not three, 4 touchdowns, and 400 yards, 200 yards passing in the first half. And Ohio State's up by 25, up by 20 plus at halftime, and they end up taking out McCord. So he finishes with 4 touchdowns and 280 between 280 and 300 yards passing. You know who else I think has a big game for Ohio State in week 2? Wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Marvin Harrison goes off because everybody's doubting him that he's going to be, he's not going to be a first round. Marvin Harrison's not going to be a first round pick. He's not going to be a first round pick. He will be in the second round. Oh no. Marvin Harrison's going to have a huge game. He's going to have 9 catches for 125 yards and 2 of Kyle McCord's 4 touchdowns. 2 of them are going to go to Marvin Harrison, and the other 2, one of them is going to go to Cade Stover. And I'm calling it right now, I think Carnell Tate is going to catch a touchdown pass this week, either from Kyle McCord, which that would be McCord's 4th touchdown pass, or he catches it from backup QB Devin Brown. And that would be Devin Brown's first touchdown pass in his college career. And I think Ohio State's easily going to beat Youngstown State. I don't think it's going to be much of a game. And you're going to see some freshmen play in this game against Youngstown State. One of them being Carnell. You're going to see in the second half, mark my words, you will see 3 freshman receivers on the field for Ohio State. Carnell Tate, Bryson Rogers, Noah Rogers. All 3 freshmen. They will play in the second half of this game against Youngstown State. I think the running backs have a big day too. I think Chip Trainum gets his first touchdown of the season. I think Henderson gets his first touchdown of the season. I think Mayan Williams has another 2-touchdown game. And I think the defense shuts out Youngstown State. That's a big. They did it to Indiana. I know Indiana's a little bit better than Youngstown State, but I think the defense pitches a shutout, and Ohio State wins easily. The next thing I'm going to go over is I'm going to give you a review of the Rays game from last night. This may take a little bit because there's some sticking points I want to talk about. So, the Rays ended up winning in 11 innings, 8-6. The Rays did not play good defense. They had sloppy defense throughout the game. I don't get why you keep putting. I understand Walls was injured, or at least that's what you're saying, is he was injured. That's why he didn't play Monday or last night. But why wasn't Basabe in the lineup? Why wasn't Paredes as short? You could put somebody else at shortstop instead of Brujan. I do give Brujan credit, though. He did draw 2 walks and stole a couple bases. But he's batting under 200. And that's not acceptable in my book. You can't have a guy in the lineup that's hitting under 200 and he's in there for defensive purposes only. To the brighter part of the game, the Rays used 8 pitchers. And they used 8 pitchers. Eflin started and went 5 innings. 2/3 of an inning from Poche. 1/3 of an inning from Kevin Kelly. An inning from Armstrong. He's the only one that gave up runs. And none of them are earned. And then you had Davinsky for an inning. You had Fairbanks for an inning. You had Diekman for an inning and Ramirez for an inning. He gave up a run as well, but that was an inherited runner in the 11th. That was some. I like to call it the Manford Man. The Manford Man. Yes, the Manford Man. And he gave up a run. He let that runner score, but he held Boston after that to no runs. And the Rays ended up winning it in the bottom of the 11th inning on a 3-run walk-off home run by Brandon Lau. And here's the Rays' upcoming schedule. They have one more game against Boston tonight at 6:40. And then the Mariners come in for 4, starting on Thursday. Then they go to Minnesota for 3, next Monday through Wednesday. And then they're at Baltimore for 4, next Thursday through Sunday. And I'm also going to give you one more. I don't think it's going to be an upset because I think this team is. I'm taking Charlotte University in the points against Maryland. Maryland's a 27.5 point favorite. I think Charlotte is going to cover that 27.5, as well as Maryland's going to win the game. We know that. But I think Charlotte covers the 27.5, the point spread of 27.5 points. And here is my Heisman list from week 1. At number 5, I have Drake May from North Carolina. At number 4, I have Caleb Williams from USC. Number 3, I have Cade Stover, tight end, Ohio State. This is after week 1. Let me pause and tell you, after every week of the season of college football, I will have my top 5 Heisman list. So that was number 3. At number 2, I have DB wide receiver from Colorado, Travis Hunter, who had a big game in week 1. And my number 1 Heisman pick right now, after week 1, is Colorado QB Shedeur Sanders. And there is some stuff I want to say now about my trip. As most of you know, tomorrow there will be no episode of the Sports Talk Show, as I will be in Tampa at the airport preparing for my flight to Columbus, Ohio on Friday morning. So if you don't see an episode of the Sports Talk Show with me, your host Alec Pecino, on Thursday, that is due to me being at the airport, as I live far away from the airport, so I will be getting a ride to the Tampa airport and staying at a hotel in the airport at Tampa on Thursday night. So there will be no stream Thursday. Now, the exciting part is Friday when I get to Columbus, after I walk around the camp, after I check into my hotel and walk around the campus for a little bit, at 5 o'clock Friday afternoon, or let's just say that's the framework for when I'm planning on going live. But it could be 5 o'clock, it could be later. There will be a stream from Columbus of me giving you guys updates on how my trip in Ohio is going. Saturday morning, there will also be a stream at 9 o'clock in the morning for probably right around 30 minutes and probably a 20 to 30 minute stream like this of me giving you a review of what I did on Friday and a preview of the Buckeye game Saturday and what my plans are before the game and after the game. And then Sunday, the 10th, there will be a stream in the morning, as Sunday afternoon when I'm in Columbus, I will be either going to the women's soccer game for Ohio State, the field hockey game for Ohio State. I will be going to one of their sporting events and taking that in, because the only thing I've ever been to in Columbus is a Ohio State football game. I've never been to field hockey at Ohio State. I've never been to a women's soccer game at Ohio State. But that is a little glimpse into the future of me and my schedule going forward while I'm in Ohio. Now, I will be showing you on my screen my memberships and my merch. So let's get to the memberships. First, I'm going to explain how you purchase a membership. The way you purchase a membership is if you're already subscribed, there should be a little box next to where you subscribe that says join, and you click on that and you pick whatever membership you want. And I will go over the membership levels right now. The Talk Sports Opener level membership is 99 cents a month. The Talk Sports Starter level membership is $2.99 a month. The Talk Sports Medium level membership is $4.99 a month. The Talk Sports Elite level membership is $5.99 a month. And the Talk Sports Gold level membership is $9.99 a month. And depending on which one you pick, they all come with perks. They come with perks and you can see those perks when you click on whichever membership level you want. And as well, I do offer merch. Let's get to the merch. The t-shirts, blue, purple, white, are the blue t-shirt is $24. They come in guys and girls sizes. The purple t-shirt is $25. Again, that comes in men's, girls, and guys and girls sizes. The white t-shirt is also $25, and that comes in blue. That comes in the same. That comes in guys and girls sizes as well. And we offer slides for $40. Green, blue, and red. We also offer guys and girls tank tops. Blue, red, and white. $19. And the last thing I'm going to say is I am going to be putting up new merch every so often, which after this stream today, I will actually be working on some new merch. And it will be going up on the website, which the link, you can find it on my YouTube homepage next to, if you have a membership, it should pop up on my side next to memberships. No, it should be on the little slide bar. And if it isn't, all you have to do is go in the comment section below and comment either your Instagram or your Snap, and I'll add you over there, and I will send you the link to my merch store and so you can also get the memberships as well. The next thing I'm going to go over is why people think. I'm going to give my opinion on why I think people think Colorado isn't for real. So, for those of you that don't know, I've jumped on the bandwagon, the Colorado bandwagon. I am a fan of the Buffaloes. Yes, you heard it here first. I'm a fan of the Colorado Buffaloes. And it's because of Deion. He has transformed that football program. If you go back and look over the offseason, he basically told the guys that were there from the 1-11 team, either you stick around and you stay and you buy into what I'm going to teach you, or you hop in the portal and you go to another school. And there's a lot of new faces on that roster. Most of the guys that Deion brought are he brought a bunch of his luggage over from Jackson State. He brought his son, Shiloh and Shedeur, from Jackson State, Travis Hunter, and a few other guys. But he also got a bunch of transfers from other schools. He had 2 kids from USF transfer in, both wide receivers, Xavier Weaver and Jimmy Horn. He had, if you look at the roster, it's very noticeable that there's only 2 guys still on there from that 1-11 team at Colorado last season. And I like what he's doing at Colorado. He basically, he's changing the way people should look at college football. He's saying that either if you're going to go to a school, you're either going to go there to learn, and some of these kids wanted to learn from the best DB to ever can play football, and Deion, and that's why they're there, because they want to learn. They don't want to go to some, excuse my language, but they don't want to go to some school where a college where they're going to have to sit out a couple years and wait their turn. They want to play for a guy that knows what he's doing, and that's Deion. I'm tired of these kids that are at Bama that go there and say, oh, I want to go there to play for Saban. Sorry to break the news to you, kid. You're going to go to Bama, and you're going to sit on the bench for 2 years at least, maybe 3, and not play. Because there's guys that are better that are in front of you on the depth chart. And when Bama has guys jump in the portal, take, for example, they lost 6 or 7 guys this year because they didn't get playing time. And then you have Saban come out, I think it was either SEC Media Day or I saw a video of it the other day on social media. He was complaining about kids jumping in the portal and going to other schools. And I'm sick of when coaches do that. Especially Saban. He should be the last one to complain about kids jumping in the portal from his school, because he's a good recruiter, don't get me wrong, but he complains way too freaking much. And I'm sorry if I'm offending any Alabama fans, but y'all get off way too easy, especially with your schedule. You don't, other than playing Texas this year, you don't play any hard non-conference games at all. And I think the NCAA needs to start punishing schools that never play hard non-conference games. I'm an Ohio State fan. I would be fine if they punish Ohio State for not playing anybody hard out of conference. Other than this year, we play Notre Dame out of conference. And in a few years, we play Alabama, which I hope we embarrass them. Because I'm sick and tired of saying people, I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, Bama gets in the playoff, even if they don't play nobody. That is true. Yes, they do. And it's not right. They should get punished. And even with 2 losses, even with 1 loss, they still get in the playoffs. For example, a couple years ago, they played Mercer out of conference. And now was the tiebreaker for them to get in the playoff instead of Ohio State. Which really irked my nerves and made me upset. I'm glad the playoff is going to 12 teams after this year. But the only issue I have is you're still going to have people that finish 13, 14 in the rankings, and they're going to say, oh, we should have been in the playoff. We need to expand it to 16 teams. No, you can't do that, because then at that point, you should just have all the FBS play in a single elimination tournament. If you go undefeated or have 1 loss, and make it March Madness. But that's not going to work because then that takes away from the student athletes from their time at school, and it cuts into the NFL scouts. They can't go year round looking at college football athletes. They already kind of do, because they start in August when the season starts, and they go till November, December, January scouting these guys, and then they stop at the end of the college football season scouting, but then everybody has their pro day, and that's when they start scouting again. And I personally, I think the 12-team playoff is going to do wonders. The other thing I don't really like is the whole conference realignment. I don't think that's right. I don't think there should be conference I get why the conferences are getting reshaped. It's because money talks. Like, for example, the Big Ten's adding Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. How logistically, how does that make sense? It doesn't. But they're doing it because it's going to bring in more revenue. The ACC just added 3 more teams: Stanford, Cal, SMU. Okay, SMU makes a little bit of sense because that's on the Atlantic. That's Texas. If you look at a map, Texas, Florida, and North Carolina are all near each other. And then you look at that map again, and you look at California. It's on the complete bottom part, almost bottom part of the map in California. And I don't understand how you're going to tell me that makes sense for travel. And I do think it's going to make these conferences more competitive. And then the other conference that's adding more members is the Big 12. Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. I like that. All 4 of those schools going to the Big 12, I love. But I think the Big 12 needs to take a school from another conference. I think they need to call up the Mountain West and get Boise State on the line and ask Boise State to come join the Big 12. That would make the most sense in the world. At least in my opinion, that would make the most sense in the world to me. I don't know about anybody else, but to me, that would make the most sense in the world, is to have Boise State join. And the other conference I would call is the Big Ten, and see if you can get is the Big Ten, and see if you can get Nebraska to come back to the Big 12. So you can have all four corners covered, because you're losing Texas and you're losing Oklahoma to the SEC. And I'm going to say this. I don't think realignment is done. I still think we're in store for a few more schools to go on to go to new conferences. For example, I think the SEC can still add a couple more schools, because I've heard that they want to take a Miami, a North Carolina, and one other school from the ACC and bring them over to the SEC to expand the SEC even more. And I like that, but at the same time, I just feel like that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, in my opinion. And ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for today's show. If you haven't already liked and subscribed on YouTube, please do. And if you haven't followed me on Twitch already, please do. Which, going forward, when I get back from my trip on the 14th of September, that is where I will be doing everything from, and then transferring it over and putting it on YouTube after the stream is over. And once or twice going forward on Twitch, I'll be streaming Ohio State football games with a special co-host / play-by-play analyst. He's the co-host on Sundays with me for college football talk, my buddy Robbie Culleton. But thank you. That does it for the show today. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.